Clutch Trucker is filmed before a live studio audience. And yes, he is a meatball. He's a dog made entirely of meatballs. Hey YouTube, Clutch Trucker here. Thanks again for tuning in to another edition of the Clutch Trucker channel. Here I am, freshly showered. Such a nice thing. At the showers that were just okay here at the TA in Vero Beach, Florida. Yeah, I'm in Florida. I'm almost never in Florida. Because usually the problem is getting down here, the rates can be pretty good. I had a great paying load getting down here, but getting back out, that's the issue. So I'm parked here at the TA in Vero Beach after I delivered in Deerfield Beach. Because of course, if you're a town in Florida anywhere near the coast, you have to have beach in your name. It could be like Armpit Beach, Short Hairs Beach. It has to be beach. So anyway, here I am. So hopefully I'll get a load tomorrow that pays me better than $1 a mile, because that was the problem. Most of the loads getting out here today, $1 a mile or less. It costs $1.10 to run this truck. And then more than that for me to get something for myself and the family. Now the reason I mentioned, like, somebody might be saying, well, $1 a mile, that's pretty good. I'm a company driver, I only make, 45 cents a mile, 35 cents a mile if you work for Swift. I'm sorry, but it could be as low as 25 cents a mile. But as an owner-operator, you need to make a lot more than that, because you're paying to run the truck. You got to remember that, okay? You're paying for your fuel out of what you make. You're paying for all your truck maintenance out of what you make. And on average, if I combine everything that it costs to run this truck, it's about $1.10 a mile. And after that, then I make money, okay? So I need to, you can see the dog in the background. He's up there on the bunk. I need to make, as close to $2 a mile or more as I can. So like I say, company drivers, this means nothing to you. If you go to Florida, you don't care. You might have to sit a day or so for the company to get you back out, because they're trying to find a decent rate. But yeah, you got to get, I try to make it like around $2 a mile. I know getting out of here, at best, I'm probably going to do $1.50 a mile. And that's overall. Then remember, Turquoise Trucking, they take their 15% off, and so I make what's left. So at $1 a mile, chop off that 15%, that's 85 cents a mile to me. That doesn't even run the truck. That means I'm driving for free, which I don't like to do. So that's the concern about Florida. Now back to the subject of today again. I'm going to talk about cell phone service again for truckers. I had to make a switch. And we'll get into that. Oh, and by the way, now that I'm down here in Florida, this is the one thing I do like. Shorts in January. I put shorts on after my shower. I may have to change as I get out of here and go north, but shorts in January. It's a beautiful thing. Okay, now I did a whole video about the best trucker cell phone service, and I was talking about T-Mobile. Because in general, they have gotten a lot better. They've added a lot more towers. There's a lot less holes in their service than there used to be, because T-Mobile was kind of like the third big one to kind of come up. You have AT&T and Verizon, your big dogs out there. T-Mobile just bought out Sprint, so they automatically now get all their towers. But what I liked about T-Mobile is they were the first ones to really do the just all-inclusive plans, which is they say $60 a month, bang, that's what you pay. There's no added taxes and fees. That's what I really liked about them. Too, like I say, if I put the whole family on there, it was only $180 for 5 phone lines with T-Mobile, and again, no taxes or fees on top of that. That was it. So that's why I was happy with them, and for the most part, through most of the country, T-Mobile was pretty good. Now, through the years, I've had lots of different phone services. Years ago, I did a lot of prepaid, because I didn't like having to pay those extra taxes and fees, and how they always wanted to, upgrade you and blah. It used to be a lot more complicated. And so years ago, when I first got into trucking, I tried the prepaid route. I had Verizon prepaid, but Verizon prepaid was very different than regular Verizon. If you were on Verizon prepaid back then, you didn't get any roaming. And so there were huge holes. All of Wisconsin was pretty much gone. Maryland was gone. Much of Pennsylvania was gone. And if you, God forbid, were still on a call when you drove through one of those holes, it would throw you on roaming, and they would charge you extra and knock you down at about $2 per minute. So I got kind of disgusted with them, and I went with the other prepaid companies. Remember Net 10? Remember them? That was a long time ago. And then Straight Talk came out shortly after that. I never tried Straight Talk. My buddy Jim, who bought my old truck, which is a screamer, by the way. He's got that thing so tweaked. Look out. Anyway, he hates it when I do that. He's on Straight Talk, and he's got pretty good service. And they tend to use Verizon towers. Like I say, and then a few years ago, my family, my daughter and my wife were going to Europe, so I got everyone on T-Mobile, and I really liked how their plan said, this per month, bang, that was it. There was no extra taxes and fees. And so actually they were pretty good compared to the prepaids. So that's why I did my video earlier talking about T-Mobile actually has been improving. They've been adding more towers, and they don't revert to other carriers as much as they used to. Problem being in Wyoming, where we live, my wife works at a school near downtown where the T-Mobile service would drop out, and it would switch us to Union Wireless, which is the local Wyoming wireless company. Now, I've had Union Wireless. I got my iPhone 6s Plus with them, and their service was terrible. Then the rest of the country, everywhere else I went, I was always constantly switching to different carriers, and none of them were very good, and the service always sucked. So I finally got rid of that and went to T-Mobile, and they were pretty good compared to that. My daughter lives in Laramie, Wyoming, where she was going to school, and she had a big hole right where she lived. So my wife and daughter and everybody was kind of getting disgusted with it, so they all switched to Verizon not too long ago. Then, of course, my T-Mobile bill went boing, shot up. They first said, oh, it's going to go up to $60 a month. I'm like, okay, I can kind of swallow that. Then a month later, after everybody had switched away, it went to $70 a month. Then they started saying, well, now you're going over your 50 gigs a month, and maybe you need to bump it up to another plan, which is going to cost $80 or more per month. And at that point, I wanted to see if I could join the rest of the family on Verizon, which I tried to do last Wednesday when I was in Ogden, Utah. Rusty was in getting groomed at the PetSmart. I've got a video about that. And there was a T-Mobile store literally right across the road. I'm in the parking lot in front of PetSmart. I see a T-Mobile store. I see an AT&T store. I Googled Verizon, and they were just about, 3 or 4 blocks up the road. So I hiked through the snow up to Verizon to see if I could switch with the rest of the family to their plan and drop my plan down. So I hiked through the snow down to the Verizon store. They checked my phone only to find out that no, my phone is not compatible with Verizon. I had recently upgraded to a 7 Plus to replace my 6S Plus because I was running out of memory. Well, little did I know at the time, I had bought a phone that was only compatible with T-Mobile and AT&T. It was not compatible with Verizon. When I bought my wife's 6S phone years ago, I bought it in an Apple store, so it was compatible with everybody. My daughter my light is not working. My daughter just upgraded when they switched to Verizon to a different iPhone, I think an XS or something. Well, automatically it was going to be compatible with Verizon. Mine was not. So I don't know if my old 6S Plus is compatible with Verizon or not either. My son is probably going to use that one, and if he can't use Verizon, he's going to do what I did. So after hiking back through the snow, back to my truck while I was waiting for Rusty to get groomed, there's the AT&T store right there in that same parking lot in the same strip mall. So I went in there and said, okay, look, I'm on T-Mobile now. I tried switching to Verizon with the rest of the family, and my phone's not compatible. Of course, Verizon was saying, well, you can upgrade to an 8S or 8 Plus for $650. I'm like, yeah, I just paid $300 to upgrade to this phone. I'm not paying more to go to Verizon. Sorry, Verizon. No, thank you. So I went into the AT&T store and said, all right, look, I'm on T-Mobile now. I know you guys share the same network with, or are compatible phone-wise, technology-wise with T-Mobile. So give me your speech. Tell me why I should switch to you. And the guy was very nice, and he showed me the plans they had, and he put his SIM card from his AT&T phone into mine, and yes, it worked. So he said, yes, you're compatible. So, like I say, T-Mobile wanted me to up my plan anyway to about $80, $85 a month, and AT&T had a plan for $75 a month, which was $5 more than I was paying T-Mobile, but I was going to have to upgrade with T-Mobile anyway. for roughly the same kind of plan. And they all say they're unlimited, but they're unlimited to a point. That's one thing I hate about all of the cell phone companies. Oh, it's unlimited, but only to this point. Then you pay this, and it's unlimited, only to this point. Then don't call it freaking unlimited if it's not really unlimited. All of you guys. Okay, enough of that rant. Anyway, so I was kind of pissed off at T-Mobile. I couldn't switch to Verizon, so I said, fine, AT&T, we'll give you a shot. We'll see how you are. We'll see if you're any better than T-Mobile. If not, I'll go back to them. They were able to switch my phone over immediately. And so then as I was driving back into Wyoming, until, of course, I-80 was shut down, watch one of my previous videos about that, where I had to spend the night at a Walmart parking lot in Evanston, Wyoming. Then the next day, when they opened the road, driving across Wyoming, I had service the whole way across Wyoming. Oh, unbelievable. With T-Mobile, it was constantly dropping out, or would revert to Union Wireless, which I talked about earlier. And when it reverted to Union Wireless, the data would never work. I could maybe make a phone call. I had phone service all the way across Wyoming on I-80. Blew me away. Now, like I say, it's been a few days later. I'm now down here in Florida. The service has been great. So AT&T has obviously improved their coverage. And the guy at the store was telling me, oh, well, we've now surpassed Verizon in our cell phone coverage. Well, they're going to tell you anything to get you to switch. We're going to give you candy canes, popcorn candy, and presents, and, you'll be able to play the piano if you've never had. They're going to tell you whatever they want to tell you. So I've been kind of skeptical, but so far, I got to say, the AT&T service I've been pretty impressed with. Through all those states, I went from, because I started with the new AT&T in Utah, all the way down here to Florida, and I've had great service. So I guess maybe I need to change my tune and say AT&T's got better service. Although, of course, their $75 a month plan that's not all-inclusive like T-Mobile, which I really liked about T-Mobile. When they said it's this amount, it is that amount. I'll be interested to see what my first bill really is with AT&T. It's probably going to be a little higher. But living in Wyoming, if I have service all the way across Wyoming, which I tend to drive across more often now, well, maybe that's worth it. So I guess this whole video is basically me saying I may have been wrong about T-Mobile being the best service for truckers earlier. If you've only got one single line and you're going to have to pay the premium price, which you do if you only have a single line with any of the carriers, maybe it's worth looking at AT&T. They have really improved their service. Now, as I mentioned on the Best Trucker Cell Phone Service video, and I talked about T-Mobile, I also talked about the WeBoost cell phone antenna, which I do have on this truck. It's pricey. It's about $500. You get the antenna that you put out on your mirror if you can. I know a lot of the new trucks don't have those tube type things. You might have to work around that. My Freightliner Coronado does. I have that kind of mirror mount. So I have my antenna out there for that, and it runs inside. There's a little booster I put underneath my dash shelf inside here in the truck, and then an antenna I mount right here on my dash. Okay, here's looking at my dash. I've got my iPod right there. Here's my cell phone holder, a magnetic mount Scotch. They're great for truckers, by the way, because I can just pop my phone down there and it sticks. And then this black box right here. This is the inside, it's dusty, you can see that, antenna for the WeBoost cell phone antenna booster system. So my antenna out there on the mirror runs into a box that goes underneath my dash shelf down here, which you can't really see anything below there, but it's down there, believe me. Let's see if I get my light down there. No, can't really see it. But anyway, it's down there underneath my dash shelf. Okay, then it goes to that box right here mounted on my dash, so I have great cell phone service inside my truck. So the WeBoost is probably helping improve the AT&T signal, but like I say, compared to the T-Mobile, against the AT&T, so far in the path I've driven from Ogden, Utah, across I-80, Wyoming, into Nebraska, drop down 29 into Kansas City, 70 across there, down to 64, down to 57, into Kentucky, 24 from there down through Tennessee, and then I-75 south into Georgia, and south down into Florida over to I-95. I've had great cell service ever since. So, like I say, compared to the T-Mobile with the WeBoost, the AT&T with the WeBoost seems to be a little bit better. I don't want to say overall they're fantastic and great because I haven't driven all over the country with it yet, but so far I gotta say they're pretty good. A little more pricey than T-Mobile, not by a lot, but maybe that's what you need to consider as a truck driver, especially on a single line, since on a single line everybody kills you on that price. So I'm saying, truckers, maybe it's time to look into that. So in conclusion, I'm not ready to say AT&T, you the bomb, and you it, and you're the end all. Compared to where you used to be years ago, you seem to be a lot better. And as of right now, compared to where I drive against T-Mobile, yeah, you filled in a lot of the holes, and especially, like I say, I-80 across Wyoming, where almost nobody has good service. Apparently Verizon and AT&T are about the only ones who do. So if you have to drive in remote places like that, maybe it's worth considering. I feel pretty confident about my decision to switch to AT&T, and I think it's going to work pretty well. I'm not ready yet to say they are the best because there's so many other parts of the country I haven't driven to yet. Now that I've been on AT&T, it hasn't even quite been a week. All right, so I will make an update on this video to let you know about that. The WeBoost cell phone antenna, I definitely recommend, no matter who you're with. That has been an improvement everywhere, and so far with at least a couple different carriers, that has been a great plus. It's pricey, but like I say, as a driver, that $500 for that one time is probably worth it. All right, hey, thanks so much for tuning in again to the Clutch Trucker channel. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please subscribe, please like, please comment, please ring the bell, sniff that magic YouTube fairy dust. As always, clutch out.